Hello and welcome to Planetsang. I have to confess something. The last time I was a ferocious reader was in 3rd grade. And then TV came and cable came and movies came and I just got addicted to those. But somebody changed my opinion. In 2006 I met this amazing author. Well, at that time she was a journalist with me in Film Fan. We used to sit next to each other. She's talented, she paints, she's creative. I mean, that's an understatement. But years later, she's come up with a book, Dark Things, and I'm here to interview her and tell you a lot more about her. Hi Sukanya and welcome to Planetsang.
I'm really happy to be here on Planetsang.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so when was it that you first decided to be a writer?
So I never really took this major decision of being a writer. I always wrote, but I'm also really lazy. So I didn't really think, actually there was a point in my life when I didn't know what I wanted to be. So I did mass communication and then I worked at a TV channel for a while in the south. But I didn't ever really think of becoming a writer, except that I think writing decided that it would be writing chose me rather. I think that's how it happens, because once I came to Bombay, all the jobs that came my way were all writing jobs. And I said, I'm not getting other jobs, might as well take this one. And I joined Screen, which was my first big break into the world of Bollywood, and that's how it started. So that's how I started writing actually as a job.
You were really good as a journalist. I know this because I used to sit next to you.
Okay.
How much did you take from your magazine writing into this book?
So I was really lucky, as you know. We worked with Jitesh Pillai, and before that I worked with Bhavna Somaya in Screen. And I think that it is very important that you have the right editors who teach you what not to do in an interview. You know, it's very easy when you're an upstart journalist to put everything you want. You want to show off in your articles. You want to put everything in, and then you want to write these 5,000 word articles and show off, your knowledge of English. I'm glad that I had mentors like Jitesh Pillai, who actually showed me what not to put in an interview. Editing is as important as writing. In fact, editing sometimes is more important than writing. So I think when it comes to magazine writing, they'll tell you to cut down a piece because they want to make the picture bigger, or because the headline has to be a certain way. So you learn how it becomes a team process. And I think that was my biggest giveaway from working in a magazine, which I think was really helpful, because when I was editing my book, I wasn't one of those absolutely stubborn, anal,
like, don't touch my words.
Don't touch my words. I can't let you edit that. And they were pleasantly surprised. And I said, no, but I've worked in a magazine. I've been a journalist, and I know how editing helps. So yeah, I think that is probably one of the biggest takeaways. So we work with people like Jitesh Pillai, Anuradha Chaudhary, all these people say, cut words, cut. I don't want you to write so much. Just keep slashing they would slash your copy mercilessly and hand it back to you. That's, I think, a great lesson in retrospect, actually.
Nice. So what was the atomic bomb moment of your inspiration?
I think as writers we pretend to write a lot. So I was in my pretending to write phase with a certain book, which I hope I will do next. And I was doing research for that book on the internet, where actually I was looking at cat pictures, but you know what. So I was researching mythical characters and beasts, and I came across the Yakshi. You know how the Wikipedia or the internet will take you from one thing to another, and you keep clicking on links, and then it's never ending and it's addictive. So one of those expeditions brought me to the Yakshi, which was, then I realized that the Yakshi is one of my favorite characters from Indian folklore, Kerala folklore to be precise. And I said, hey, I want to write a story on the Yakshi. And actually, the story that I wanted to write, which I hope I will write now, I started writing that story with the Yakshi, and I realized, no, I actually have 2 different stories. So I was really greedy, and I said, I have 2 different stories, so let me tell them. Which is how this book was born, and that book is in cold storage.
So, if you get the book Oscar, would you thank Wikipedia indirectly for
I would thank the internet, yes, which is also my biggest enemy, but I would thank the internet for reminding me about Yakshis. That's for sure. Yes.
And the language, I mean, I was just going through and flipping pages, and I saw that the language is not bookish. It's very casual. It's very readable, even for a non-reader like me. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, was it conscious?
Well, I think that's my style. I think I don't use big words even in real life, so I don't see why I should be using them in a book. And again, like my favorite author Neil Gaiman says, to paraphrase him, he says, first you have to sound like the authors you love before you start to evolve your own style. And that's true. All the writers that I have loved are easy to read. I do love the literary writers too, who win the Booker and the Nobel Prize for Literature, and I do love them too. But the ones I tend to read and reread are the ones who have an easy, readable style. So I guess, yeah, it's just natural that I would be a writer of similar kind.
So how is the book doing? It launched a few...
It launched, I think, sometime in Jan, and numbers are not really important. And I don't mean that. It's not like how actors say, awards are really important. No, this is not one of those moments. First of all, it's a little early to go into sales, but I'm going through that beautiful phase in my life when I wake up every day, and because I'm active on Twitter, I wake up to at least 2 messages saying, we read your book and we love it. And I don't think there's any greater payoff for a writer than to hear those words that we love your book. Of course, I'm open to criticism, which I've got constructive criticism from friends and people who review books. But mostly, yes, I think that's the big thing, the love that you get all around. You're sitting here right now, and you're doing a show on my book and me. So yeah, I think
yes, lots of love coming from there.
Yes.
What's your best critique, and what's been your worst critique?
There is no such thing as a worst critique. Somebody did point out that the pace in the beginning was slow. I don't know if that's true or false. I guess different people have different, they read differently. So if you're someone who likes things to hit the ground running from the word go, and it has to be like, then maybe, yeah, you need to get to like page 65 for that to happen. The best thing that someone told me was that ultimately, this book has been advertised and it's been promoted, and the cover says, what if the maiden was the monster? And it says, what does it say at the back? A heady concoction of fantasy and romance. But today somebody said to me that your book is ultimately about love, and it's about love in a way that you understand sacrifice, and you understand that love is freedom. Love is actually letting the one that you love go, and you don't the feeling that you can love them without having to own them. And I thought, wow, this person gets it, this person gets my book. And I think, yeah, that's the nicest thing anybody said about my book.
Many husbands think their wives are monsters. So would Dark Things be a dedication in some way to the monster in you, to your husband?
Yes, I think so. Because I'm terrible when I write. I'm horrible to live with when I write. I'm whiny and I'm cranky and I'm yelling and I'm starting at like the slightest noises, and I want absolute silence, and I'm generally a terrible human being during my writing process. And I think this book Oscar that you talk about should actually go to him for putting up with me during this process. Yes, so yeah, I don't think he's actually used the word monster with me, but he's implied it. But he's also stuck with it. So
God bless him for that.
God bless him, yes. A lot of people have been asking me about sequels, so I'm actually considering one. Movies is not in my hands. I hope some great studio loves it and picks it up and it becomes like a fabulous film. Who knows? Yeah.
So who would you cast in this if it did become, if you had the authority, who would you cast? Since you're a filmy gal yourself,
yes.
Who would you cast?
So the main two characters in this book are both women who are very strong in their own way. And for the character of Ardra, who's the Yakshi, I've always imagined Shruti Hassan in that role. Always. I think Shruti Hassan has this otherworldly look. She actually looks like she comes from some other realm. So yeah, Shruti would probably play a really good Ardra. And for Hera, Vidya said she would love to play Hera. So now that she said it, I kind of see her in that evil, powerful role. But yeah, I think Vidya would be great. Priyanka would be great. Charlize Theron would be great.
Hollywood.
Yeah, now I'm going to Hollywood. Nice. With the guys, I have no idea. I keep getting suggestions like Ranveer Singh and Hrithik Roshan. But honestly, I have a clearer picture of who the women could be than the men. I'll leave the men to the studios. I am working on something That's probably eat me up by the time I'm done with it. Let's hope I finish the first draft at least by mid-year. It's a much bigger story in terms of scale. So I'm working on that, and I'm also working on a couple of screenplays. I'm always working on a couple of screenplays. I don't seem to be finishing them, but I'm always working on screenplays. And I don't plan things. I take it as it comes. I'm really lazy, so I'm actually happy to not work as much as I'm happy to be working. So yeah.
Okay, well, all the best for everything, and thanks so much, Sukanya, for talking to us.
I'm so happy to be here.
That's all we have for you right now, but I just have to tell you, go and buy this book. It's great, it's so easy to read, and I'm going to go home right now and read it once I buy my copy, not take it from her. And one thing I do want to say before I end the show, Sukanya is a gorgeous, gorgeous painter, and I don't know if you can see behind me, but all this out of focus behind me is her paintings. So someday she may even sell her paintings, So if you're interested in her and you loved her book, call her, get in touch with her, tweet her, follow her, and just tell her what you thought of the book, and keep watching us. So see you on the other side. Bye.
So here's a surprise for you guys, okay? I'm going to give away 2 signed copies of Dark Things, and this contest is going to be really easy. All you have to do is answer 2 questions. 1. Which magazine did I work for before I quit and became a full-time writer? Second is, who is my favorite author? Both these are mentioned in the show, so it's really easy peasy. All you have to do is A. Like this YouTube channel Planetsang, and B. Leave the answers in the comment section, okay? And we will pick 2 winners in a lucky draw, and I will send you a signed copy of Dark Things. Have fun, happy reading, and be good.